4 years, 50 months, 220 weeks, 1,540 days, 39,960 hours. Whole Lotta Red released 1,540 days ago on December 25th, 2020. How long has that been? Bro, since the release of Whole Lotta Red, Young Thug went to prison in 2022, had his trial and was released in 2024. DMX, Young Dolph, Lil Keed, PNB Rock, Takeoff, aka Foolio, and Rich Homie Quan all passed away during that time period. Hell, even the Queen of England passed away since Whole Lotta Red dropped. So you guys should consider yourselves lucky that you even lived long enough to be able to hear this album. Russia and Ukraine started having full-on beef, and in the Middle East, Israel and Palestine's conflict escalated. Messi won the World Cup, I graduated university, and Arsenal still don't have a Champions League since Whole Lotta Red dropped. So that now brings us to today. After many lies, empty promises, and delays, on the 14th of March, 1,540 days later, Playboi Carti released I Am Music to the masses. This project consists of 30 songs, and each of these songs were recorded from a different era within the 4-year period from the end of 2020 to the beginning of 2025. We've gone through the narcissist era, the antagonist era, and finally the baby boy era. And after all these shifts and changes, the deadbeat dad Playboi Carti gifted us with 30 songs, which were recorded within a 4-year period. But the question on everyone's mind is this: was it worth the wait? Let me start by showing you 3 different paintings and getting your thoughts on them. But before I do, may I please get a like on this video? It really helps for the algorithm, and comment your top 3 songs off the album and I'll review them, or if I don't get to them, someone else might. Now back to the paintings. So I got Caravaggio's David and Goliath painting, Picasso's Girl Before a Mirror, and Robert Ryman's painting Bridge, which, fun fact, sold for $20 million.
Robert Ryman's painting Bridge. It sold for $20.6 million at a Christie's auction in 2015.
Now the reason why I've chosen to show you these 3 paintings is to illustrate that when it comes to comparing artworks, no matter what medium it is, be it film, music, or visual art, it becomes difficult to compare artworks considering the different purposes which the artwork serves. For example, if we compare these 3 artworks based on being abstract, then obviously Picasso's is the best. If we base it on minimalism, then Ryman's is the best. And if we base it on realism, then Caravaggio's wins. So what I'm trying to illustrate with these paintings is that you can't compare all 3 of them and implement a narrow baseline to judge which artwork is good or not, because if your only baseline for good art is realism, then Picasso will never be considered a good artist by your standards. And we can even go into film. You can't compare a movie like Pulp Fiction to the Avengers Endgame and then go about having the opinion that yeah, Endgame is a better movie because it has more special effects. I hope I'm making sense over here. So now, how do you review art? You review the piece by the intention of the artist and the emotion it makes you feel. Ask yourself, what is Playboi Carti's intention on every song throughout this album, and how did those songs make you feel? You'll notice that by this definition, there is no objective review you can give to this album. What you think about this album and every other form of art is purely subjective. That's why I had to bring up these 3 paintings, because for some people their favorite out of the 3 would have been Caravaggio's, and for others Picasso. And I bet you out of the 30 songs Carti dropped, no one in the comments will be able to come to a universal agreement that one singular song is the best song in the album. My number 1 song might be Rather Lie, and your number 1 song might be Cocaine Nose. So with that, you'll see that it's all subjective. But I gotta admit though, there is a wrong way to review art and albums in general.
5.3? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and that's generous. Because of the quality of the production overall, and because of the genre of the music, usually, in my opinion, it starts at a 3, okay? So, if you add that in, and you remove 3 out of this, it is a genuine 2.3 out of 10. Hey, you want to get mad at me? That's fine.
Like this man XQC is using ChatGPT to calculate his rating, and now you're giving this album a 2 out of 10? I can bet money right now this man has 0 prior experience with Carti. And these are the type of listeners / viewers who are the worst, because they'll see Playboi Carti trending on Twitter, they have 0 prior reference to who Carti is as an artist, and they'll listen to the album and then they say it's bad. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Why are they saying it's terrible? Because they are completely unfamiliar with Carti's artistry. And look at XQC's ratings. He gave Evil Jordan a 3 out of 10 and Hood by Air a 6, which tells me he clearly wasn't around at all for the 2024 rollout, because those songs were the high points of this album. Basically, don't be like XQC. I swear, if you let this man listen to JPEG Mafia, he won't be able to comprehend that type of music. If you've made it this far into the video, you might as well subscribe to my channel. You're literally helping a young black man grow. And I will be having more Carti and Kanye videos coming up, so please subscribe for that. And also leave a like, you know it helps me out for the algorithm. But with that being said, let me start with the things I don't like. Okay, so this is nitpicking and maybe I have OCD, but I don't like the placement of the parental advisory at the bottom right hand corner of the album. I just really wish they put it in the middle. That would have just made so much more sense, but maybe this is just me nitpicking. I also don't like the overuse and unnecessary use of snares, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I also absolutely hate Uzi's intro verse to Twin Trim. It completely ruined the song for me. It's literally the worst intro bar I've heard in my life.
She can't suck my dick, I make this bitch just suck my nuts.
I also feel like Opium Baby was an amazing song, but it was ruined by the overuse of gunshots and Swamp Izzo shouting Swamp Izzo. Now don't get me wrong, I love hearing Swamp Izzo all over the album, except they overdid it on this song. And my last grievance is that I just don't like how Evil Jordan has the TikTok intro to the song. I would have much rather had the original version. Putting that version of Evil Jordan just made me feel like I'm listening to the TikTok version of the song, and it kind of just ruined my listening experience of Evil Jordan. It's an amazing song, I just wish it didn't have that intro. Now it just feels like I'm listening to a TikTok edit. Aside from this nitpicking and my few grievances, I absolutely love this album. It's at least a 9 out of 10 in my books. Bro, this album was absolutely perfect. I feel like the best feature, and not a lot of people are talking about this, was Skepta, because he had an insane amount of bars in his verse on Toxic. Like, Skepta, you really did your thing on this album. And in my opinion, this album was worth the 5-year wait. And I genuinely can't complain. There are even big pages on Twitter which are giving this album praise, which is rare because usually large pages on Twitter rush to call an album ass. And that leads me to my last point. I don't have a problem with someone expressing an adverse opinion to mine in regards to the album, as long as they give a valid reason why they don't like the album. See, with me, I absolutely love this album. So if you're someone who doesn't like the album, just don't default by calling it ass. At least say why you don't like it. If you give your reasoning as to why you don't like this piece of art by Playboi Carti, I can at least acknowledge the negative opinion and respectfully disagree. The problem with Twitter is that when everybody starts expressing an opinion that they like the album, there'll always be that one person who wants to stand out and get all the attention for saying they don't like the album. And what this will end up doing is it creates engagement for them, because Twitter doesn't have a dislike button. So if I tweet that I like the Playboi Carti album, nobody replies. They'll just like because they agree with what I'm saying. But if I tweet that this album is trash, it'll get 10 comments of people telling me their opinion that they think that I'm wrong. These 10 comments end up boosting my tweet and getting me more engagement, because Twitter pays people based on engagement and impressions on their posts, and I'll end up making more money. So with Twitter, people have a financial incentive to express negative opinions of this album because they know it'll get an engagement. So when it comes to Twitter, always take what's being said with a grain of salt. You should actually never take Twitter seriously, ever. For me personally, I think this is another 9 out of 10 Carti album. We had self-titled, Die Lit, Whole Lotta Red, and now Music. Carti has continued to evolve and has one of the best discographies I've seen from an artist in a while. So I'll be uploading more Playboi Carti and Kanye videos in the upcoming days. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more of those videos which are coming up in future. And I must say thank you guys for watching. Peace.